Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining today's webinar, Maximizing Member Engagement, Crafting a Winning 2025 Event Calendar. We all know that a strong event calendar is more than just a list of dates. It's a strategic tool that drives engagement, boosts retention, and keeps your club's culture vibrant and exciting all year long. So today's session is packed with practical ideas, creative inspiration, and planning strategies to help you take your 2025 event lineup to the next level. Before we begin, just a couple housekeeping reminders. This webinar is being recorded and will be available to all PCMA members within a few days. As you guys probably noticed after the last webinar, it took a couple days for it to come out. The software that we're running these webinars on, they actually do some minor video editing to the recordings before they release them back to us. So we're gonna do our best to get this recording out by Friday afternoon. However, it might be Monday or Tuesday until it ends up in your inboxes, but it will end up in your inbox and it will be on the website for viewing at any time. Additionally, we also have the Q&A box over there on the left-hand side of your screen. So at any point, if you have any questions, feel free to drop your questions into the chat and we'll have some time to go over those at the end. So now, without further ado, we are thrilled to welcome today's speaker, Lynne LaFond DeLuca. Lynne is truly a powerhouse in the private club industry. With roots in hospitality dating back to 1987, she's spent decades perfecting the art of private club events, including 15 years as the Vice President of Events at Club Corp. She currently serves as the Executive Director of the Association for Catering and Event Professionals, where she continues to elevate and educate professionals across the industry. In 2014, Lynne was recognized by Boardroom Magazine as one of the most influential women in the private club industry. Lynne brings unmatched passion, creativity, and insight to everything that she does, and today is no exception. So get ready to be inspired and walk away with actionable ideas to engage your members like never before. With that being said, please welcome me in joining Miss Lynne LaFond DeLuca.
Thank you, Jordan. Thanks so much. I'm so happy to be back with PCMA. I think a little known story, when I first started ACCP, the very first announcement that I made that I was launching this association was at a PCMA conference. We were in Chicago and it was 2011, and that's where the first announcement was made. So PCMA is always near and dear to my heart. So we are going to get started. I'm super excited to be here with all of you today. Let's talk about our agenda a little bit. And like Jordan said, please feel free to pop your questions as we go along in the Q&A box over there. Or if I'm talking about something and you're doing it at your club or have a good example of it and want to share that of something that's working for you, you can pop that in there too, because we always like to hear from the clubs, what's working, what's not. If there's a challenge that you solved, some riddle that you think could help some other club, then please feel free and share that as well. And we'll get to as much of that as possible at the end. So to start with, let's just kind of go through our agenda so you know kind of what we're up to today. We're going to be talking about aligning that event calendar with the interests and the preferences of your members. Sounds simple enough, but yet when it comes to actually implementing it, figuring it out, creating it, sometimes it's a challenge for clubs. So we're going to talk about some of the strategies involved in actually doing that. And then diverse event formats. Every event at your club shouldn't look the same and be the same size and have the same audience. So we'll talk about that. Select themes and topics that resonate with your members. And we're going to go into just a few of the current trends, but a trend conversation is a whole other animal, as you know, so we'll save that for another time. Or you can join us on one of our ACCP webinars. We talk about trends all the time as well. And then leveraging feedback. This is super important to shape that event calendar and increase your attendance. We know everybody has challenges, with that, but we want to make sure we're getting feedback so that we don't repeat some of the same mistakes and we tweak things to make them better for the next time around. And then tools and technology. It's everywhere. It's big. We need to be using it right now. So how do we use that properly to streamline our event, the planning, the promotion, and the engagement tracking? So that's a lot in one agenda, but we are going to get to it. So here we go. I want to start with this, and I love this quote: building a good customer experience does not happen by accident. It happens by design. So when your members come to the club and are privy to just a phenomenal experience and they've had a great time, that's not by chance. That's because of all the hard work that you have done on the front end, the back end, in, infusing all those little magic moments into that event. It is by design. You have to design those details and design those interactions. It doesn't just happen. And that's why most of us in this industry on the membership marketing and event planning side, we are A-type personalities. We like control over every detail, but that's what creates a great experience and a great event for your members. So how do we align that calendar? Where do we start in trying to determine the preferences and the interests of our members? So it starts with all of you really in membership and marketing. When you are talking with, new members, potential members, candidates, bringing them into your club, you are gaining so much information and so much feedback at that point. And, I hear it all the time from every club, like, oh, our club is so different. And you are. Every club is very different. And you are as distinct as your members. Every club has such a diverse group of membership, not only in, age, in interests, in their networking, all the associations and things that they're affiliated with, charitable organizations. So it's really critical to understand, why did your members join the club in the first place? And to not only get this information, but to document it and to track it. So hopefully everybody has a really good CRM, a customer, database where you can keep all this really great information. Did they join to socialize? Maybe it's a pure social thing. Maybe they want to network for their business. Maybe they just love your golf, tennis, pickleball, fitness, or do they want exclusive access to services? Maybe you're providing other things and potential partnerships outside of the club that they now have access to: movie tickets, theater tickets, sporting events, maybe travel. There's all different reasons. And by pinpointing what it is, we can really tailor our events then so that we are not only satisfying the interests of our members, but we're ensuring that we get the attendance we need. We're not creating events just in our own creative minds that might not appeal to your specific membership. I love this little thing at the bottom here. I'm just going to read it word for word. A one-size-fits-all approach to events and services simply won't work in your club setting. And besides, that's just boring. We never want to do copy and paste, one-size-fits-all. Instead, your members expect and deserve bespoke events, very curated, and experiences that feel tailor-made just for them. This means understanding their demographics, interests, and values to ensure that the events you plan are engaging and relevant. That being said, let's personalize those events with a purpose. So how do we do that? First of all, gaining that information up front, as we said, but that's just a one-time thing. You can get the information from your brand new members. That's awesome. But then what about your whole existing membership base? We really do need to continuously conduct those surveys and use feedback mechanisms to keep garnering all the different, because their interests are going to change as well. And they might have something new that they want to do or be involved in. And we need to constantly be getting that information from them. In doing surveys, I think one of the big important things is members don't like to be surveyed a lot or all the time. So kind of rotate through your different groups of members. Don't maybe send it out to everybody all the time, but focus on different groups, even if it's alphabetical, A through D, E through, whatever. Do it in smaller groups so that everybody isn't being hit. If they're getting surveys all the time, they're going to just start deleting. Then we want to segment them by age, interest, professions, and charitable affiliations. There are all sorts of categories we can define them by. These are kind of the four big ones. You want to know, do you have a big family club? In the beginning, years ago, I was working with some clubs who never really got in touch with who their members actually were. And they were planning all these events, fancy events that adults, would attend. Come to find out, they didn't realize that they really were a family club and they weren't focusing on the family aspect of their club. Nowadays, that's just a no-brainer. We have to focus on who our members are and create events specifically for them. But that's come through evolution over the years that we actually figured that out. And then we have to leverage that data, even if it's your servers or your golf shop, your pro shop staff, anybody on your team that's hearing a tidbit of information or getting a preference or a favorite, drink, or which table does this member prefer in the dining room. All that information is gold, but we have to contain it somewhere. So make sure we leverage this data, collect it from our employees, collect it from all these different ways we just talked about, and get that into your system, either a CRM or whatever membership application you are using. But mining that data is going to be critical. So how do these tailored events impact member retention? And I have to say, once all of you bring those members into the club, I truly believe that you're working with your catering and events team and the experiences and the events that you are putting on for your members has the biggest impact on member retention of any other thing going on in your club. So that is why it is so critical to really hone in on this and just give it the attention that it actually deserves. So first of all, again, like we said, we're going to understand their preferences. We're going to tailor those events to whatever their passions are. Things like hosting an art show for members who are avid collectors. Maybe you want to curate a specific golf tournament weekend with bringing in other local professionals, or taking a group of your members to another location to host a local golf weekend. If your members are into wellness and health, then arranging a retreat for those health conscious members. So this doesn't have to be the bulk of your calendar, but we need to address everybody's needs, even if it's a very small group. And we're going to talk about size of event in just a minute because it's super important. Don't just fill the calendar. Now, there's a lot of different strategies people use for when and how to create that actual calendar of events. So I can't even believe it. I'm not going to say halfway through 2025, but we are inching our way closer to there. So you can still impact your events for 2025, but really you can start thinking about this for 2026 as well. So I know we said 2025 on here, but this can just kind of impact everything you're doing, moving forward. So in creating your calendar, a lot of clubs will do it around when they're doing budgets. Some of you do budgets in June. Some of you are more like September, October for the calendar year, but you don't want to, it's deadly to just copy and paste your member calendar from last year into this year. You can do that with our traditions and some special events, but you really want to take the time to go back, look at your data, make sure you're infusing some other type of special events in there as well, especially when it comes to theme. And we're going to get to that in a minute as well. When the members feel you're paying attention to all this, it validates that investment in their club because you're paying attention to their changing lifestyle. And that higher perceived value, of course, is going to equal a higher retention rate and that positive word of mouth. We always want our members leaving and singing your praises. So let's talk about now getting into the actual planning of the event calendar. So we've got our new members. You can do the member surveys. You can get that employee feedback. But beyond that, let's get the members involved. You probably have committees already that are set up for specifically this purpose to help with the event calendar for the year. Sometimes if you are short on information, maybe not a lot of people are replying to those surveys, or you really feel like you need some fresh information, think about creating a couple of specific focus groups and maybe invite your committee, your event or your house or social committee, whatever you're calling it. People call it different things all over the country. Invite that committee with another focus group and bring them in and really talk about what your current event calendar looks like and what it could be and where we think the holes and the gaps are and what else we need to fill in to really round it out. And also, if you have a large event coming up or something totally different from what you've done before. Think about creating a specific event committee just for that. I know most of the time, and I think it's a great idea, and you should do this, if you're celebrating a milestone event, the club's 50 year, 75, 100-year anniversary, which so many clubs are doing phenomenal events for right now. That scale of an event really does need its own committee because it's a huge undertaking, and you're going to want to divide that committee into different subcommittees of maybe you're doing year-long celebrations. You're going to have something going on every month, culminating in one big gala blowout toward the end of the year or up during a specific month. Maybe there's part of the committee, maybe there's a subcommittee working on all the historical data, gathering old newsletters and creating cool things out of those that you can use throughout the year or at the big gala event. Maybe somebody's working on merchandising. Are you going to have a special logo for your milestone anniversary and have merchandise in your retail outlets? So and then maybe a communications and marketing subcommittee. So those big events really do garner and require a separate committee of its own. And what that does is it takes a lot of the pressure off of all of you out there to undertake event of this scale. Sometimes even, clubs have brought in outside event planners to create events like this because it is such a big undertaking. You can do it within your own walls, but I would really encourage you to employ the help of your members. And they get so excited getting involved in these kind of events too, because it's about your culture and your history. So here is now a lot of different theories on this, but in my opinion, in my humble opinion, here are all the different things that need to be present for you to have a well-rounded member event calendar. We need all age groups represented, both separately and together. So if you have certain pockets, we have a lot of toddlers in this club. We have a lot of 6 to 12. And then there's that teen and that tween ages, which are super hard to kind of, focus in on. Separate it out by what you have predominantly at your club. Do events specifically for them, or maybe it's that, on the opposite end of it, an aging population. Maybe you have a lot of singles in your club. So do specific events, but then do those really family events, the inclusive events that bring all your members together at the same time. So that's the first thing. Address people individually and then address groups as a whole. Different event sizes. And I am just really adamant about this, that there has to be small and intimate and big and loud. I think when you create an event and you don't have in your mind a target number for that event, I think it's different in the planning, but also things can go haywire really quick. Because if you're just planning of every event hoping, I think we'll get 150 people. And then when you fall short of that, or if you fall short of that and you only have 50 people, it doesn't seem like a success, does it? But a person's sold out event can be a huge success and a huge win. So I would create those big and loud events, the ones you're going to get all the members coming. It's going to be a big number because that's going to have a different budget from an event that is, I'm going to plan a 25-person, small, intimate dinner in the garden, out on the golf course. I'm going to do string lights. I'm going to make it super high end, all the details, the layering on the tables, different textures and linens and tabletop and rental china. And I'm going to, pull out all the stops, bring in all the bells and whistles. And you're going to create that event to sell out at 25. What that does is now you're appealing to a whole other different, group of people in your club. And maybe you'll have to add a second one of those events. Or the next time they're going to go, oh my God, this event sells out really, really fast, quick. Let's make a reservation. So it's all the different types and feels of events that's going to really give you a really full event calendar. I also love when you plan in a few travel trips. The whole point of our clubs is that our members love to be together, to come together, to create a community. And when they get to know people and create those really lasting friendships, they're going to want to do more than just see each other at the club. Maybe they're going to each other's homes for dinner, but maybe they'd love to take a little weekend trip together. Maybe they want to go on a golf weekend or plan a fabulous weekend up in Napa Sonoma and go wine tasting. Or maybe you plan a shopping trip around the holidays. Maybe it's a music trip to Nashville, whatever it is. And again, that's going to be based on the interests and preference of your members. Then those travel trips can be a really fun experience. I am a huge fan, as all of my event and catering directors know, of a phenomenal pop-up, whether it be a surprise or a planned pop-up. Well, they're all planned, but like that the members know about in advance. So pop-ups can be anything. It can be a dining experience. It could be bringing in a fabulous celebrity chef to use maybe a room that accommodates 30 to 50 people and having a month-long pop-up restaurant specialized to this chef, or maybe a new restaurant that has opened in town that nobody can get reservations to because it's the hot ticket. Maybe you do a pop-up in your club with that same restaurant so that your members can come right to their club and have that same dining experience. A pop-up can be retail. It can be a champagne trailer on your golf course for a ladies' guest day. It can be shopping. It can be just about everything. Maybe there's a fun smoothie or ice cream pop-up at the pool one day in the summer, and it's just a surprise for the members. Pop-ups are so fun, and they're a great way to fill an empty spot on your calendar because you don't need a lot of advance notice. So if you're looking at your calendar now, between now and year end, and you've got a few gaps or a few holes in there, you can really think about doing a fun little pop-up. Something themed even is fun. A summer bar pop-up, a winter bar pop-up. I always say, like, when your pool closes, if your pool closes, if you're a seasonal club, maybe think about what's going on at that pool snack bar. Is it just going to sit empty until the pool opens again the following, pool season, May or whatever that is for you? Or can you do a winter bar type of pop-up and really theme it out? What can you do with your little used or unused spaces in the club? That's a great way to think about a pop-up, is what space do we have that isn't being used, and where is there a hole in our calendar? And then, of course, in your member event calendar, you're going to have your weekly dining events, your special events, and your traditions. And there's something I'm going to introduce to you called a monthly focus as well, because maybe you have all these things already and you think it's just getting a little stale. We already do that. We already have all the different events. We have some pop-ups. We have, of course, our weekly dining. Special events and traditions always have to be in there. Special events meaning like, Easter's coming up, Passover dinner. We probably just said maybe there's a Memorial Day, and then all the, traditions at your club. But I'm going to talk for just a second on weekly dining, special events, and traditions, on those three categories. Just because it's something you do all the time and you are repeating events, I always say never, ever, ever do the same event exactly the same way twice. Even if it's a tradition, infuse a little surprise in there. If a member shows up at your club for an event that they know what it is, you do it every year, we love this event, we're going to come to this event. And if that member gets everything they expected and sees everything they saw from last year, we have dropped the ball. We have missed the boat a little bit on that event. There should always be something that is a surprise, something a little different, even if it's in your weekly dining. I always say, even if it's Taco Tuesday, we do Taco Tuesday every week. Well, let's make it a little different. Maybe even it's how you set the buffet or where you put the food. Or maybe one week you have a surprise strolling, mariachi band. Maybe you bring in specialty linens one week. Maybe you do fun centerpieces one week. Just something to make a little surprise, something a little different every single time. So that member is going to show up and go, okay, we're back at the club. We never know what's going to happen. There's always something fun going on. So I would take a look at what you do have planned through now and the end of the year, and look at every single event and make sure you have that fun surprise factor in there. And the other thing I want to talk to you about is this monthly focus. Oh, wait, you know what? Okay, that's in our calendar events, but I'm going to talk about micro events first. So we're going to get to the monthly focus in just a minute. So micro events, this is when we were talking about crafting and specifically creating that smaller, intimate event. Now, micro events, this is one of those things that was started out of necessity. It was started after post-COVID, after the pandemic, and we were forced to only have small events. Well, what we figured out was that our members really loved it, not only just for member dining, but on the like wedding and birthday and all the special, private events as well. What people found is that, gosh, if we don't have 100 people, if we only have 10 people, we can spend a whole lot more of our budget on decor and on food and beverage and really making everything so much more special and bigger and lush and creative. So people got used to this smaller, intimate, but very highly designed event, and they liked it. So I think by, again, infusing specific micro events into your calendar, it's a great way to satisfy this group of people that don't want to be part of a big, loud event. They like that smaller, intimate type of a setting. Great example of it is Inverness Golf Club. I don't know if anybody's on the call today from Inverness. If you are, hats off to you, because I use this example so much. So what Inverness did is during COVID, post-COVID, they launched something called their social suite. And it was an area out on the golf course, very remote. They were away from everybody. And I want to say it was 20 or 25 people maximum that they could accommodate out there. And they would just do these small dinners out there. Well, then people started booking it. Can we have our family dinner out there? Great. Yes, you can. So they were doing private events. They were doing events for the members out there. The members went nuts for this idea. They absolutely loved it. They thought, we don't want this to go away. So it has become a permanent fixture at Inverness. They poured a concrete pad. They strung, you can see in some of these pictures, the string lights over the top. They've now built in a fire pit area, a barbecue area. There's a concrete pad for music, where a band can, set up. But the members love to be out in this very special, very intimate area. And it's a new tradition. So you never know what's going to happen when we're forced to do things a little bit different. But I love that example. Okay, so let's get to our monthly event focus now. So for those of you that do, create a nice calendar event, maybe you do it for the whole year, all at the same time. Maybe you go quarter by quarter. If you do go quarter by quarter, I would still encourage you to kind of plan out your whole year first. You don't have to detail out all those events, but at least you've got a good mix of events that are, planned out. Every month you've got a little sprinkling of all the different types of events you should be doing. But if you want to infuse maybe something a little different, again, a little surprise, something you've never done before for your members, you can do a monthly event focus where every month you're going to focus on something different. And again, what are those things you're going to focus on? Go back to your preferences and interests of your members. And if you're going to have 12, there's 12 months in a year, and you can create a month that's focusing on something. Maybe then your grill room, menu takes on a life of its own, around this same theme. So I just put some examples in here, for you. And I worked with my friend Shanna Bright over at Private Clubs Online. And I thank her for some of the content I'm sharing with you here today as well. But for example, May could be your outdoor engagement and your family focus month, where you have specific things going on, even if it's like a nature walk. These events don't have to cost any money at all, or very little money. But it's just getting people together for a specific, focus. June could be member connections and summer celebrations. Bring a friend day. Maybe it's an ice cream social, a picnic spots map, and you create, a map of your property and have different picnic spots around the club. Just a fun little monthly focus. August could be adventure and discovery. A lot of fun ideas here. Now you are, in case you're taking screenshots and furiously making notes, you are going to get a PDF of these slides after the fact. Jordan will send them out to you. So you will get all these ideas because I know there's some really fun stuff in here and I don't want to go idea by idea, but you get the point here. September could be skill building and learning. A lot of us do workshops. I love doing educational events at the club with books or talks. Also, I love this one, Q&A with the club staff. I think that's just so much fun, learning about the club's history, the operations, the vision for the future, and also what little known talents or skills do your staff possess? Does somebody have something that would be a great topic for education for your members? Because your members love hearing from the staff and interacting with the staff. As we know, they become, like family. So, and then a member taught cooking class. There's a member probably that has great recipes. She can work with the chef, bring a small group into the kitchen, do a little, share a family recipe. So all sorts of fun ideas here for August and September. October and November, we've got festivities and traditions and thankfulness and giving back. And again, it can be things that are just, it doesn't have to be a full-blown event. It could be something super small, featuring member talent, creating an outdoor lounge area, again, in a little known area. It could be, these could be pop-ups as well. So fun little ideas for a monthly event focus if you're looking for a little bit different of idea. So how do we increase member attendance at the events we need to increase attendance at? So I asked, I'm always asking, my members, my ACCP members, what are those big questions out there? And without a doubt, I always get, how do we get members invested in coming to our events? Invested. We plan amazing fun events and then no one signs up to come. And so I just said every club everywhere, because all of you go through this and you are not alone in trying to get members to actually sign up. And sometimes they do come, but they don't make a reservation. That's the other problem as well, right? So how do we address this issue that every club everywhere has? So first of all, we're going to go to how are we promoting and communicating our events? Our communications calendar, once we get that event calendar done, we need a fabulous communications calendar on how are we getting the word out, because there are so many different ways and growing in terms of how your members are responding to text messages, emails, flyers in the club, all the different ways we can communicate with them. So first of all, personalizing those communications. So if you have your database well organized and you have an event coming up and you've got those interests of your members and you can search your database by members that might be interested in this specific type of event, sending out specific emails is a fabulous way of personally inviting members to a specific event. Don't just throw spaghetti at the wall and invite everybody to everything. If we can personalize those communications and maybe have little invitations printed, and when someone on your staff is talking to a member that they think would be interested in a specific event, that staff member is handing them an invitation and personally inviting them to the event. It's just critical that we get everybody on the staff involved, and not just you, not just your member relations director, your catering director, your event planner. It can't just be that small group of people that takes on the whole responsibility of communicating the events. If I could see all of you, I'd say, how many, show of hands, are using AI for creating your promotions? So if you're not, you are missing a tool that is going to save you time and energy and brain cells, because you can type anything into ChatGPT and say, I'm a private club. I am hosting an event for our members. It is for Memorial Day weekend. It's a family event. How should I advertise it? What should the communication say? Create a flyer for me, and it will automatically give you all the verbiage, you could say, make it more fun, make it whimsical, make it anything. And, make it in a certain theme, make it in a jungle theme, make it in a circus theme, make it in, a tropical theme. And it will create all of those marketing, not only the verbiage, but images for you as well. So using AI will save you a lot, and it'll really give that invitation and those communications a certain pizzazz. You could even ask it, I have an event coming up. Let's keep on the Memorial Day theme. I have a Memorial Day event coming up for our members. Here's everything that's going to be happening at the event. Give me a weekly tagline that I can put on social media to promote the event. And it will give you taglines for, 8 weeks, 7 weeks, whatever you need. So you're not every week trying to go, what should I write today? How should I, create this today? And then also, again, going back to knowing your members, what do they respond to? What is the best thing that's going to respond, to them? We always say flyers are okay. It kind of gets that grassroots, out there, grassroots, marketing. Real photos of the club and the members are good from past events. So we always say take pictures at all your events so you can use them for your marketing for your future events, and always get permission of your members before you use their photo in a promotion. But video is best for promotion. Nothing kind of gets the point across and shows how much fun and the details like video does. People will watch a video way more than they will read something or scroll through photos. Video is always best. So make sure you start taking really good videos of all of your events to use for future marketing. Get that committee involved. So that events committee, house committee, social committee, whatever it's called in your club, is not just there to help create events, come up with ideas, and then turn it over to all of you to go make it all happen. Part of their responsibility has to be on the attendance side as well. So every member of that committee should be responsible for bringing 5 members, 10 members, whatever it is, to a certain event. If they're on that committee, that's got to be part of their job and to help with the promotion. And then, of course, create that feedback loop. So you're getting your members and your staff involved in what worked, what didn't, so that next time you go to promote an event, you're not going to do the exact same thing and get the same result if it didn't work the first time around. So I know it's that extra step and it takes a little bit of extra time to do it, but getting feedback afterward and really documenting what you felt worked in terms of promotion is going to be key to you, banging your head against the wall the next time around going, what did we do last time? Why did we do this? Did it work? Did it not? What worked the best? In the moment, you'll remember. 2 months from now, you're not going to remember because you're on to the next thing. You got a lot going on. So this was from Private Clubs Online, just a little sample of a template for an event communication calendar. So this will just help organize your thoughts. So that very left-hand column, event title, date, and description. And then how are you communicating it 1 week out, 2 weeks out, 3, 4, 5, and 6 weeks out? Usually that's about the time frame that you want. 6 weeks out is about when it's clicking in with the members like, oh, that's right, that event's coming up. We should mark that on our calendar so we save, the date for it. Sometimes they won't make that reservation till 1 week out, but at least 6 weeks out is when you really should start communicating it. And then on the right-hand side, it's just got a place for you to organize do you have photos from past events you can use? Did you create a video? Or even just a fun, if you don't have a video from a past event, creating a fun invitation kind of video, maybe featuring a lot of, the staff, inviting the members to come to the club. Do you have an actual invitation? Is it digital? Is it, print? Do you have a flyer? Are there posters going up around the club? So just keeping everything organized here so that not only you, but the rest of your staff knows what's going on with every event, how you're organizing it, and how you're communicating it. So remember when we talked about all those surprise elements, you can also use these surprise elements to reward members who do respond and respond early. So maybe those members who are RSVPing for a certain number of events, if they've RSVP'd, maybe they get first dibs to an event that's always selling out. So give them early access to event, signups. It just encourages people to RSVP and to RSVP early. Event takeaways are also, kind of fun. And trust me, word will spread. Oh my gosh, we got a little gift at the end. People love that little takeaway gift at the end, a branded notepad, a wine glass, something simple, even like that. I'm doing an event coming up where it's a floral themed event. So I'm doing a little plantable thank you note on a floral paper, and it's a plantable flower seed paper. So they can just take that away, plant it in their garden, flowers will grow. They cost like 25 cents or something, but it's just a nice little, takeaway. A feedback booth. It's great to kind of incorporate a photo op or a video op with a feedback booth as well, and having somebody there taking pictures or taking video going, what did you think of the event? What was your favorite part? You'll get so many fun things as members are walking out the door. It's like, what was your favorite part of the night? And they'll give you some great little excited, response about it. And then photo contests. Host a contest for best member photos from recent events, fun prize for the winner, by encouraging people to send in all the photos from event and using those as, content for your social media. You're now telling all the other members, look who came to the event and they were so excited they were taking all these photos. You want to create that FOMO, that fear of missing out, and members listen to other members. So let's talk about a little bit more about that post-event follow-up and that feedback loop. We not only want feedback on how our communications went, but then once the event actually happens, we want to make sure maybe it's at your food and beverage meeting the week following when the event actually happened, but we do want feedback from the members and the staff. So again, you can get that feedback on the site from the members, on site from the members, but the staff really is going to tell you, here's what worked in the kitchen. Okay, we had a little breakdown with the maintenance crew on this. Maybe next time we could do it this way. But document everything. Keep it in a file with that specific event. So the next time you go to do that event, you see what worked, what didn't. And the things that gave you a challenge or that could have gone a little smoother. Maybe there was something clunky about the event that could have been a little easier on the back of the house team. You're going to correct that for the next time because you don't want to keep doing those things over and over. And also, if you planned an event that you knew in your heart, like, God, this is going to be a great event. This is fun. I've got all these fun details. This is great. But then it kind of missed the mark a little bit. Maybe you didn't quite get the attendance you need or something about it was off. But it's going to be great. Don't give up after one try. Tweak it, get that feedback, do whatever you can, give it another shot. If it still isn't a success, maybe you give up. But I always tell people, don't give up after just one try if it's something that you really feel passionate about. And then bringing in the bells and whistles. Here's that wow factor. Here's what you want every single event to have. It must have something that people are going to talk about the next day. Be smart about how you use your budget, research, use, and get creative with the trends. So again, put yourself in the place of your member. Drive up, you get out of your car at the event. What do you see? Is there somebody greeting you? Does the party start in the parking lot? Is there music? Is there a greeter? Is there a performer? What's happening in the parking lot? Is there something exciting that they're going to walk into? Once they walk into the club, what do they see? What do they smell? What do they taste? Is somebody handing them a beverage, or do they have to go wait in line at the bar? Walk yourself through that event from a member perspective and see what they're going to be experiencing. And also make sure that you've got a touch point at every point, the beginning, the middle, and the end, where there's interaction with your staff, with other members, and that there is absolutely something that everybody's going to go, oh my gosh, look what just happened. Something fun, unexpected, whimsical, that's going to catch people off guard. That's going to be the thing. Everybody's going to pull out the camera and take a picture and talk about it the next day. I was at an event where it was a grand opening of a club, and there was something going on in every room, different things going on in every room. And when I went to use the restroom, there was actually a champagne station in the ladies' room. And I understand there was a bourbon station in the men's room. So the next day, it made the newspaper because it was a grand opening of a club and the press was at this event. And what was the one thing they were talking about was what was happening in the bathrooms. Like, there's champagne in the ladies' room and there's bourbon in the men's room. And that was the thing that everybody was talking about the next day. Because there's certain things in an event you're going to expect. You want to do the unexpected. Have the wow factor. Have something completely different from what members are expecting. That's what they're going to remember. That's what's going to make them say, oh my God, we have to come to the next event because we got to see what's going to happen next time. So our closing inspiration today, if you have any questions, start typing those into the Q&A. But I always like to leave you with a little closing inspiration. And I have two today because I couldn't make up my mind. I couldn't pick. So first of all, along the theme with planning this member event calendar, plan your work for today and every day, then work your plan. It doesn't do us any good to have a great plan in place if we don't then go through and live by it and detail it and use it and work it and follow up on it and do the follow-up. And then dream big, plan well, work hard, and smile always. You guys have such an impact in your clubs. You create memories. You have such an impact in people's lives. As big as you can dream and create these experiences and these memories for your members that they're going to remember for the rest of their lives is as big as we can go. Keep dreaming really big, but then you got to plan well. You got to execute it. You got to deliver on the promise, especially as membership and marketing, directors. When you're bringing in those new members into the club, you're putting it out there and you have to deliver on all those promises. You have to exceed the expectation on all those promises. You would never want a member going, oh, maybe we shouldn't have joined the club. Maybe we shouldn't have spent the money. You want them going, oh my gosh, I'm so glad we did this. I would spend double to join this club. We work hard. There's no doubt about that. And always remember to keep a smile on your face and love in your heart and have fun in your work. And by planning your work ahead of time, it kind of avoids that hair on fire craziness that we're all trying to avoid. We want to take a breath, have fun with work, and have fun with what we're doing, and just know that you're having a huge impact in your members' lives every single day.
Awesome.
Okay. I don't know if you want me to talk about this or we should take questions first. Jordan?
Why don't we have this first and then we can go into questions?
Okay. I just want to let you all know, in case you need more fabulous ideas on your member events and on events and catering in general, we do our big ACCP National Conference. We're going to Nashville this year. We will be there August 24th through 26th. Members and non-members are welcome and encouraged. And we're at the Four Seasons this year. We're also going to Nashville City Club, which is going to be super fun. Nashville City Club recently moved into a new building, and it is super cool. It's an old building in downtown Nashville, and it's phenomenal. You do get your CMAA educational credits with anything you do with ACCP, and probably with PCMA as well, I would assume, since we are allied associations. So please feel free to join us in Nashville. Information's on our website at theaccp.com.
Awesome. Well, let's get into some questions then.
Yes.
Just as a reminder, really quickly, everybody does have the Q&A feature. So if you do have any questions for Lynne, feel free to pop those into the Q&A, and we'll spend probably like between now and the next 10 minutes going over some questions. So the first question that we have here is, what is your best piece of advice for very small management teams / small clubs who have the same expectations and goals, but with much smaller teams to handle balancing all the hats?
Oh my gosh, it's such a good question. You know, I don't know why. Well, I could answer this question a million times, but in clubs, in private clubs, we expect people to wear a lot of hats, don't we? Everybody has so many different jobs. So I think especially for small clubs, small teams, when you're a department of one, sometimes you've got a membership director, you've got a catering director. You don't have giant teams around them. I would say get your creative partners involved. So on the event side, you've got florists and event planners and rental companies and a bunch of creative minds out there who are fabulous at creating events. You probably you've got a referral list of event rental companies and linen companies, and use them as a team. Maybe invite that team, all your creative partners, to the club for lunch one day and go, okay, we're creating our member calendar of events. What have you seen? What are the great ideas out there? What's trendy right now in this area and, in the events industry that we could pull in? And those are the vendors you're going to be using for the event. So of course they're going to want to be part of your team. And I think, making them part of your team and making them as part of your creative brainstorming is such a great idea, because we don't ever want to feel like we're doing it all alone and we're out there, because then we're just using one brain. Why not use 10 brains? Also use whoever else at your club. I know a lot of times, one of the clubs I was at, we would use our front desk staff for anything we could, because they're sitting there answering the phone all day long, but they could also be stuffing packets, creating social media content, creating invitations. So we would kind of, let other departments be involved in anything we could. Whoever had a downtime, a down minute, we were using the minute. So use the whole team at the club, not just the department that the event is coming out of, but also expand beyond and use your creative partners. I think that's the best idea.
Perfect. So our next question here is, how do you create events targeted to specific demographics without alienating others?
Well, it's a good question. And I think what you have to do is make sure you have events that will appeal to everybody. So you definitely want to do those events that are going to target specific interests. But then you want events that are going to appeal to the masses. So there has to be events that everybody can come to. And maybe if your club has a lot of different preferences and a lot of different interests, maybe you really focus on those smaller events and hit as many of those interests as possible. Again, if you have somebody that's like being vocal about that, going, hey, how come we don't have an event for that? Put them on the event planning committee, get them involved in helping to create the calendar and create different themes and events that more people, will come to. But I think you have to do both. You have to have the ones that are appealing to specific interests. You have to have ones that would appeal to the masses.
Perfect. Any more questions that we have for Lynne? Feel free to pop those into the chat.
Those were great questions. Thank you guys for sharing that. I know it's a challenge. Every club has so many challenges when it comes to this event calendar and nailing it and getting it right. And, with events, we always say we don't get a mulligan. You don't have a second chance to do an event and have it go well the, second time. You got to nail it the first time. But that doesn't mean you can't tweak it for the next time around. But the details are everything. So I think that's the most important thing, is just focusing on the details and also knowing where to use your budget. If you have a smaller budget, and I know sometimes with those smaller clubs, it's hard to have a bigger budget. So if you have a small budget on an event, you're thinking, where do I spend my budget? Well, make sure, first of all, number one, food and drink are on point. Second of all, if it's what you have left over is small for decor, florals, music, entertainment, I wouldn't sprinkle it around and do a little bit of everything. Focus on one big thing. Have one big blowout something. and keep everything else small. Because when you dilute the budget too much, there's no big focal point. Nobody's going to, remember a tiny bud vase with one flower coming out of it. They'd remember one giant spectacular floral that was the showpiece and the backdrop that everybody wanted to take, a picture in front of. So be careful about how you use your budget.
Definitely. Okay, so we had a couple last minute questions come in. The first one, so Lynne, you had mentioned really focusing on marketing events 6 weeks out, but how far in advance would you recommend having events on the calendar for members to view or be aware of?
I think because I always like creating that member event calendar, at least just plugging in the dates, like for the year. And I would put it out there. As soon as you do that, even if it's for the whole year, put the dates out there. Then it's that 6 weeks out where you really want to start the promoting. And by that point, all your details have to be done. Your menu has to be done, because you want to use that in your marketing, telling people what they're going to expect at the event. Don't tell them everything though, because you have to hold out your surprise element. But I would say as soon as you have your calendar of events done, put it out there. Add it to your calendar in your club so members can plan for it. They can see it. But then the 6 weeks is really just when you really start the big marketing push.
Perfect. Thank you. Do you have any new ideas on goodie bag items? They really like your seed.
Thank you. That's an event actually that I'm doing at the Valley Hunt Club in Pasadena next month. And it's this whole floral theme, because the Valley Hunt Club is where the Rose Parade started. Not a lot of people know that, but so that's why I'm tying in that kind of, floral theme. So I think for a little goodie bag item, carry your theme through. So if you can, if there's any way, if you're looking at your event, what can they take home that's going to really, accentuate the fact that this was the theme of the event? I know, going along with the, floral theme again, the bouquet bars or the bloom bars are a really fun thing to do right now. So as people are leaving, or maybe it's during the event, but they can grab it on their way out, they get to put, together their own little bouquet of flowers to take home and have in their homes. That's really fun. I always think too, like, we love to logo everything, which is fun. Certain items are great to have a logo of the club, but don't feel like you have to logo everything, because is a member going to want to use everything, logoed, or could it just be, some other little item? But I always like to tie in like local foods, local, things that are specific to your area or your theme of the event. So specific things. If you gave me a theme, I could probably come up with an idea, because I, like with my conference, our national conference every year, everybody gets an amazing swag bag. And I think gifting is so important, and making it, personalized is, so important. And also gifting that's interactive. So if you have like an airbrush trucker hat bar at the event, where members can airbrush their own trucker hat, and that becomes an interactive activity, but at the same time, it's something they can take home with them. That's an even bigger win, because now you've got something interactive and it's a gift at the same time. And there's a lot of companies out there that do those interactive gifting bars. And so I would look into, I have a whole list of them, but I can give names to Jordan if you guys need more ideas.
Perfect. Our next question here is, what would be a good rule of thumb for how many cost associated events versus complimentary/free events should be offered for members?
Boy, that's a tough one. Good question though. I would say, there's certain events that, you can charge a little more for, if you make a little money on them. And I know our point's not really to make money on them, but think of it as making money to put it into those free pop-ups. So if you're going to have a little smoothie bar or an ice cream bar and you need $500 to do that, if you have $500 that you made on another event, that's a win, because now it's going to be a wash at the end of the year. So kind of think about that, like, which ones can you make money on, because the attendance is high on those events. People are going to come no matter what. So maybe we can inch those dollars up a little bit. And please take a look at your menus right now and adjust your prices accordingly. I don't think we do that enough in our club industry. Restaurants and grocery stores, everybody else is adjusting prices up. And we tend to feel like we can't do that, but our costs are going up. So make sure you're looking at your menus, but charge a little more on the events where you can, because then that can go into a pool of money where you can do more events at cost or free. Because I got to tell you, the impact of that free little fun pop-up, if it's donuts in the morning when everybody's arriving for some fun little thing and you do a donut pop-up in the front of the clubhouse, there is nothing like it. Members are going to be so wowed and so blown away, and maybe it costs you $100 or a pizza or whatever it is. Those are the things that really create, the wow. But I think they can kind of pay for themselves if you're kind of juggling dollars from one event to the next.
Perfect. I know we're over time, but if you have time for one more question, Lynn, we've got one more here. What would you include in a new member mixer social event?
Well, what would I include? Okay, so new member mixer social event. This is their first foray. This is their first look, first impression at this club and what it's all about. You got to make it fun. You really got to pull out the stops and have the fun surprise element at this event. But also make sure you're really involving your staff and your other members. So you want them interacting with the other new members, but you also want them interacting with existing members and starting to form those connections. And a lot of times I think we just say a new member mixer is for the new members, but let's include everybody and really make them feel part of the family. Also, let them get to know your staff and let them meet your staff. So maybe everybody's there. They talk a little bit about their department, about, what they do. Maybe there's a fun little booth for every different, department that these new members can kind of get to know and get to see the whole family. And then I would absolutely have some interactive kind of a fun element where they're doing something. I'm going to go back to this event that I'm doing next month at the Valley Hunt Club, just to give you an example of being interactive. So the Valley Hunt Club every year has a carriage that's in the Rose Parade, because that's what they did when they started the Rose Parade back in 1890 was the first parade. The Valley Hunt Club has a carriage. The members decorate the carriage every year to be in the parade with, flowers. So at the event I'm doing next month, I want the attendees at that event to feel like they're part of that and part of that history and culture. So we're bringing in the carriage and we're going to have them, all the attendees at the event, decorating the carriage with, flowers. So it's something interactive, really will stick in a new member's brain. Like, God, we got to do this, or we got to see that, or it's not just they're having a drink, they're talking to other, new members. And then people are on a microphone talking about their department. So make it a little more fun and interactive.
Awesome. I think that just about takes care of all of our one more question came in. Sorry, I missed this one.
Yep.
When you're renovating the course, what's your recommendation for getting members into the restaurant?
So they're not, I'm guessing you're saying they're not coming to golf. So you still need to get them to the club and not just have them dining after their round of golf. So I think this is a great time to do some fun pop-ups, and if you just have regular member dining, it's going to be something they're used to, that we can go in the dining room anytime. They're probably not going to show up if they're not used to coming anyway for member dining. So I would do some fun themed pop-ups, something that's going to really kind of be different or unique outside of the box of what you're normally doing. And if at all possible, do events outdoors so they can see what's going on the golf course. So maybe have like a viewing area where they are overseeing or looking, or maybe you put everybody in hard hats and you create a safe area to get them out into the middle of the renovation. And it's tell them to dress because you're going to get dirty, wear jeans and tennis shoes, and you're going to go out in the dirt and have a table in the dirt, or like something fun having to do with the golf course renovation. But I think a pop-up for the dining room, if you want people to get into the dining room, is a great idea. It's got to be something new and different if you're going to attract them.
Awesome. Well, that was some great advice there, Lynn. Thank you. excuse me. With that, that kind of concludes our questions here. So where can our members find you? Where, if they want to follow you, follow around the ACCP?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Please feel free to follow and to share and to join our groups. We're on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. You can also go to our ACCP website and sign up for all of our communications and our newsletters. When you go to our homepage, you can just click on subscribe to newsletter, and then you'll be part of our database, and you'll get to see everything that we're doing throughout the year.
Awesome. Well, with that, we are going to conclude today's webinar. So thank you everyone for joining. We hope you're walking away with fresh ideas and practical strategies to build a 2025 event calendar that excites your members and simplifies your planning and drives deeper engagement all year long. A huge thank you to Lynne for sharing her insight, experience, and passion with us today. It's always great to hear from Lynne and very inspiring. Last minute reminder, today's session was recorded. So the recording as well as the presentation slides will be available in the coming days. If you've registered for the event, you will get the email once it's live, and then it will be on the website for all members as well. So thank you everyone for joining, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.